Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Diamond Comics announcing that they're going to hold payments to vendors. Phew, right here. Right here. This is it. This is the collapse. This is the end. Right here. This is exactly what we're watching. Years and years have led to this moment. This is it. This is it falling apart. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So Diamond Comics is apparently broke. I would say I'm surprised, but I'm really not, considering the way the comic book industry has been going for many, many, many years now. I'm not surprised. I mean, it's been slowly and progressively collapsing as time's gone forward, so who's really shocked this would happen, right? Who's really shocked? We've got a couple of articles to take a look at today. Before we get into that, though, I just wanted to let everybody know, heads up. So we're going to have another video, and then we're going to have the Q&A out today. So just wanted to let everybody know that we're going to have a couple videos, this one and two others. So another news-related one, and then we're going to have the Q&A come out later tonight. So be sure to look forward to both of those, and, wanted to get the news out of the way first because, we could have some fun with that Q&A later tonight. Good stuff. So, Bounding Into Comics has an article. Diamond Comics announces they will hold payments to vendors amid the issue that, I can't talk about. And that already spells disaster. It does. We're going to get into why. Diamond Comics recently announced that they will be putting payments to their vendors on hold amid the ongoing issue. The announcement comes after Diamond Comics Distributors founder and the chairman and CEO of Geppi Family Enterprises, Steve Geppi, announced they would be shutting down comic book distribution for the foreseeable future. In an email to their vendors obtained by Newsarama, president of Geppi Family Enterprises, Stan Heidman, explains the reason for putting their payments on hold is due to cash flow problems resulting from the fact that their customers are no longer paying them. Well, golly gee willikers, Batman, I wonder why. When you have comic book pros out there that are attacking the fans, right, calling them the worst things they can imagine, terrible things, calling them things like incels or, World War II villains or things of that sort, right? When you have them doing things like that, why are they going to want to come back? Why would fans want to come back to that? Nobody wants to support stuff like that. Nobody also wants to support terrible comics because that's what the vendors have been doing for years. Marvel, DC, Image, all of these within the industry, they've been making terrible comics. Every once in a good while, you'll have maybe one. But then for that one, there's always 10 more bad ones to come with it. When it comes down to it, people like quality product, right? They want good stuff. And indie comic creators have realized that. That's why they're getting rich. That's why they're doing so well. But the industry doesn't seem to know that. So pay attention to these next few statements here because they're very important. Heidman explains, while the full impact of this epidemic is still unknown, one thing is certain. Supply chain disruptions have cash flow implications across the extended industry that can't be underestimated. Okay, well there's that. But it gets bigger. The next statement, now this is the big kicker right here, so pay very close attention to this statement. He adds, while we work to understand the current industry landscape, the unfortunate truth is that we are no longer receiving consistent payments from our customers. Oh, well, thus meaning that you're broke. Because that doesn't sound very good. You look at it, do you really expect to be getting the payment at this point from your customers, considering the treatment that's gone on? I don't think so. This is what happens with the monopoly. This is the thing that has happened with Diamond Comics. Diamond Comics being the only distributor out there, it's a monopoly. Without Diamond Comics, how are they going to get their comics out, right? Who are they going to go to? Of course, DC, Marvel, Image, and all of them, yeah, they're trying to figure out ways to get it out there. But when you look at it, with a monopoly, and then them just shutting it all down, well, that just leads to the end. Heidman then states, since they are no longer receiving payments from their customers, they will not be paying their vendors. This requires that at this time, we hold payments to vendors previously scheduled to release this week. And who's to say they're going to, I don't know, pay them within the following weeks? Wouldn't just be 1 week. It could be more than that. However, Heidemann does conclude the email saying, as the situation continues to evolve, we are committed to building out a plan for payment and will have more information to share later this week. For those unfamiliar with how Diamond Comics Distributor operate, their customers are primarily comic book shops who in many states have been forced to shut down by order of the government, during the issue and everything. And then, of course, with the bad sales as well, comic book shops have been shutting down all over the place. Now, I had 2 of them here where I lived, right? And the sales just went down so bad, they just had to shut down. And this was before the issue that's going on right now, And then at that point, it just came down to local game shops that sold comics here where I live. So, the original comic shop that was here, what they would do was to try to get people to try to still, support them, was they actually started to invest in actually having like card games and stuff like that. The one that was here that was the longest running comic shop actually started throwing in Magic and stuff like that, but then it failed because it just didn't get the sales. It didn't meet the demand, so they had to shut it down. And so then, of course, the other game stores, which had already been game stores prior, then they started being the comic sales here, and then, of course, that didn't fly, so they just took them off the shelves because the comics weren't selling. That's how it worked here. So where I live, there is no comic book stores anymore. They aren't around anymore. And it's because over the years, because the last time the shop was open, if I recall, I think it was in 2017, so at least the longest living one here. So, we had them up until 2017, and then just they couldn't make the sales, and they couldn't pay the rent, and fell apart. And that's what's been going on with the industry. That's going on all over, is that comic book stores have just been failing. Now that this issue's going on, then you have the monopoly, falling apart because, oh, look, we are just not going to have shipments out anymore. And since they're not going to be having like a backlist order, being able to mail copies to people's doors, yeah, well, that's going to put more comic book shops out of business. That's just going to destroy more of them. So really, it's just one big destruction of the industry altogether. And it's really terrible. Now, DC has made a decision, a better one than what they were doing, because originally they were going to do things digitally, and then, of course, by retailers, they got a lot of backlash. So here's what they had to say with DC. DC Comics appears to have either known about this decision before Heidemann sent out the email, or had foreseen this coming, as they announced they are already working on figuring out a way to distribute their comics outside of Diamond Comic Distributors. Now, DC Comics, they do have comics in places like Walmart. So there is alternative places that have been selling comics. Now, this could be a way to save the industry. I mean, I'm not saying like it would be glorious or anything, but this is a way that it could still have a leg to stand on, even if it's a little bit of a broken one. They would still be able to stand on a little bit of a leg if these, vendors could actually find a way, to push them out elsewhere. And this could have comic book stores reopen up possibly. But it's still a bad thing here, and it's rough for them. And without the vendors being paid by Diamond, this would lead to their artists not being paid, the writers, and even licensing. So it's just terrible. It's a domino effect all around. So, in a letter to retailers, DC Comics stated, additionally, because we anticipate the continued disruption to business operations will create regional volatility, DC is exploring a multiple distributor model to provide us with the flexibility needed during this crisis to get new content to our readers on an ongoing basis, which is a good thing because this at least helps during this problem, this issue that's going on. They also noted they are working with Diamond to solve the distribution issue as well. The letter reads, in the short term, we continue to engage in active conversations with Diamond to help us solve the distribution issues that have arisen and hope to get new product to stores that want or need it as soon as possible. So at least DC is trying, Marvel is doing the same. So at least they're trying to get stuff out there to try to at least have the stores survive. See, that's the big thing. But with Diamond doing this, this right here is just more of the collapsing industry. It's more to the weight of the destruction of it. And, with halting this payment to the vendors, it just hurts it that much worse. And, as time has gone on, having a monopoly, because as stated, when Marvel, which I've talked about a little bit, I hadn't talked a big amount about it, but Marvel bought up the competition back in the 90s. Therefore, Diamond was the only thing that was left. And that was the only distributor. And so it was a monopoly. That's what happened. So they all worked with Diamond. And now that Diamond's doing this, it's just more of a problem. It doesn't help anything. And I've heard a few things about Diamond being a problem in itself. I don't know, but I've heard a few things from a few people that, when it comes to working with them, unless you have like a big reputation, it's not really an enjoyable process. But that's just what I've heard. Like I said, that's what I've heard. For a layman, Diamond's customers are direct market or specialty comic book shops, mail order services, bookstores, and other retail operations who buy discounted products from the distributor to sell to their other customers. Now, continuing onward with this. Vendors are the comic book publishers and manufacturers of games, toys, collectibles, etc., who depend on Diamond to distribute those products to retail stores. So you see, it's not just the comics that they also distribute to these comic book stores to keep them alive, but it's also the games, toys, and collectibles. So that means like figurines of characters like Batman or things of that sort, games and other things. So without that distribution, without that going on, well, how are they supposed to survive? You see, that's the problem here that is going on without Diamond. And that's the problem here also with a monopoly. When you only have one source to distribute all of it, well, once it comes crumbling down, it's all practically over at that point. I mean, and that's the problem. Because now that, Diamond is like, no, we're shutting our doors, we're not paying our vendors, well, it just spells doom. It's disaster. And that's the problem. That's why, DC, Marvel, and all of them are trying to find other ways to get this stuff out. But, when you think about it, I mean, they've spelled doom for the industry for years. When you listen to woke people on Twitter, and that's your audience, and those are the people you cave to, well, then you're not going to make a good product. And, I mean, that's what the New Warriors is. I mean, and look at it. 187,000 downvotes, because people don't like this. The glorious thing about that is it brought the internet together for something that is just bad, that they don't like. That's kind of funny. A bad thing brought people together. And, these are the comics that people don't want. Nobody wants stuff like the New Warriors. Nobody wants stuff like Gotham High, which is sitting at 19,000 dislikes now. I mean, Gotham High's bad. I mean, they're both trash. They're both garbage. I mean, DC probably doing a little better than Marvel, but they're both garbage. So, that's not really much of a compliment when they're both trash. But, had the product been good, and had they been trying to get good quality products out there, this wouldn't have been so much of an issue. I mean, why do you think, as I stated before, why do you think indie creators are becoming rich? That's because they knew about making good quality products for the fans. Because fans like that. Fans will come back for more if it's good and enjoyable. When you pump out trash, well, you're going to create a dying industry. And that's exactly what's been going on. And, with the issue happening right now, it's only led to further destruction of the industry. And if they want the industry to survive, well, DC, Marvel, Image, and everything else, they're going to have to find ways to distribute it on their own. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and make sure you are still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you are still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like if you enjoyed, and also be sure to share the video on social media, spread the word, and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released. Not only that, but also upcoming events in the future as well. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. And I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.